2-1.
Welcome to another episode of 2-on-1 with Mike and Mike. This is your host, Michael Vetrano, along with my partner in crime, Michael Torriero. Our next guest is the pride of John Glenn. He's the pride of Oneonta. He's the current head coach of Miller Place. That's Matthew Kaszubski. How are you, Coach?
Good. What's going on, boys? Good to be with you, Matty.
Great to talk to you. Big fan of the program. I mean, obviously we have a lot to talk about. You know, Miller Place gets better and better and better, and consistency over the last decade plus. So I want to talk to you about a number of things. First of all, you know, I kind of asked the same question with, you know, all of our wrestling guests. But how did you get involved in the sport? What drew you to wrestling? You know, was it in the John Glenn Kid program? Was it in middle school? Talk to us about that.
You know, I got drawn in. Basically, I was an awful athlete as an elementary school kid. I was just kind of a scrappy kid out there. I wasn't really good at any traditional sports. And when my buddies did wrestling in middle school, I started pretty late. I got involved in middle school, and I kind of figured out with wrestling, it's about how hard you work and how scrappy you wanted to be. And I started seeing some success. I had some great coaches, and it built from there. And I just caught the bug, and it never left. I've been doing it ever since.
Well, Coach, we're all in Suffolk County. We're all glad, certainly in Miller Place and in your area. Everyone's glad, you know, that you're involved. You know, when I think of Miller Place, as I said, I think of consistency. I think of improvement. I think of incredible teamwork and sportsmanship. So what I want to ask you is, and I, you know, you took
Hey, Mike, not to interject, but you know, just for the listeners at home that might not be familiar with Long Island,
yeah,
Miller Place. I grew up closer to Miller Place as I did my high school. It's just another, you know, beautiful little hamlet on the North Shore of Long Island, tucked right in next to Rocky Point and Sound Beach. Some of the best wrestling and water you could find in the world. Just as an FYI,
Matty, everything on the entire planet Earth comes back to Rocky Point. I think you've known Michael and known me for a while.
I know Mike a long time. We used to live with each other. So
yes, yeah. So anyway, you know, just getting back to, it's a very good point, Mike. Thank you. So getting back to the question, right? I mean, look, you took over for Coach LeRae. I think Coach LeRae did a great job. You know, kind of started that resurgence of the program. You were his assistant for a short while. You've taken over the program, and you know, you've honestly taken it to the next level. You guys are consistent. What have you done? What's your model? You know, when and I've asked this question before, right? When your wrestlers or athletes have that Miller Place singlet, they almost have a badge of honor, right? So how did you kind of create that culture and create that winning atmosphere at Miller Place, which honestly is not, although it's near Rocky Point, it's not, I wouldn't say it's overly a traditional wrestling school. Obviously you guys had some good teams over the years, but now you're a power in Suffolk County and Sexual Live in New York.
I appreciate that. Well, a couple things. One of the biggest things is we preach family, like a lot of the other programs, but making sure the kids know that we care about them. No matter what, we care about that end product, not just about the wrestling, again, the buy-in. And I had some great coaches in high school that kind of taught me that. And also I was fortunate when I was at Glenn, I kind of learned that kid wrestling model. When I was in high school, Tom Jeremita was just starting that kid wrestling program with the Blue Wave. They just like in 2000. And I saw those guys, the Turdicks, the Meinsons. I would go after my own practice and go down. That's where I caught my own coaching bug. But I also learned just the grassroots stuff, hammering signs in the ground, getting the flyers out, harassing gym teachers to get kids involved. Because we're a small school, right? If we want to win titles, we got to compete with the Brentwoods and the Pat Meds. It's just a numbers game, right? So you got to scrounge for every athlete and get them to buy in and let them know we care about that end product when they get out of there, and open the room 12 months a year. And it's you know, there's really a secret, but it's been working out so far. We got great kids, great parents. It's been a fun ride the last few years, and we have great coaches that are with us. Coach LeRae and Coach Castellano are instrumental in developing these kids.
Super impressive what you just said, by the way. You know, because
he's a very impressive guy.
You're making me blush, Mike.
Well, you deserve it, man.
I just mean that I've seen wrestling in a lot of different forms, from youth to the senior level, and I've seen it done the right way. And because of our friendship, because of the proximity of where I live, because of my love for Suffolk County and Long Island wrestling in general, I've followed your program. And what you say is not just words. You know, I know that you practice exactly what you preach, and that your athletes follow suit. Talk a little bit about, you know, some of the inner circle, and I don't mean to like bash the point, and I'm not trying to be over dramatic about it, but you know, you do operate within that Rocky Point, Mattatuck, Shoreham, Wading River sphere of kind of coaches network, coaches committee. Talk a little bit about how you structure the off season, what other teams and programs you find to be instrumental or helpful in kind of helping your athletes out, where your kids are going, and just sort of, that pocket of Long Island and how you guys operate as a nucleus out there.
Right. Well, the first thing is our room's open 12 months a year. We're always open, and that really kind of breeds just success, having the kids in there. It's open. It's not as high intensity. I think that's where they do a lot of development with their technique in the off season. And then we're working with, Coach Dawson's, who is our roommate as well. One of my best friends. We work with them a lot. Shoreham Rating River. We all kind of we'll try to gotten together with the Patchogue guys in the past. Just those other programs that are really preaching that off season, model. And that's where you're really seeing the success and the growth, I think, is from, March to November.
So right now, when I was a kid walking around Miller Place High School, they had a wrestling team, and I think they had a county champ at some point. And Dom came in and, put a ton of energy into Miller Place Wrestling.
Absolutely.
I mean, that guy is, unbelievable with what he took and the thing that you were able to jump onto and then later get the reins from. Talk a little bit about sort of the mentality of the wrestling culture from the youth level all the way up right now. Do you have a strong kids program? Do you have any females in the program? What is the mindset of the youth coming up in terms of who are the superheroes that you want to make mention that kids are trying to be at Miller Place right now, because you're creating superheroes out of that program?
Right. So our kid wrestling program, I kind of have the philosophy of I'm not pushing a ton of competition early, right? We have, I think our kid program's gotten stronger every year, and we're just getting them involved and getting to love wrestling. And those really good kids, then we kind of push them to say, hey, you're ready. We're not like sending them off to every weekend to compete. We really just want to get them a love for the sport. And then, and we've had good numbers in middle school. And then when you get to high school, we obviously start turning it up about 6th, 7th, 8th grade with those good kids that are committed. And then when they're in high school, we're open 12 months a year. And we've had some really phenomenal kids. You talk about superheroes you talk about the Carl Corpys and the Alex Morticellos early on. And just recently we had a county champion, Chris Bold, who, I think he won like one match as a freshman to, winning a county title, the Kyle Kleins. Right now we have the Justin Kleins, the Noah Bilas, the Mike Giuliano, who's a freshman. Just great kids. They live the right way. They do the right thing. They have a lot of fun out there too. So those are the kids that, I think that are models for our younger guys.
Coach, you mentioned some of those guys. Billy, if you could bring up a box score. You guys wrestled Rocky Point recently. I want to kind of go through some of that. Tell us a little bit about your. So look, we love Rocky Point, go Eagles, but look, anytime you beat Rocky Point 49-19, any win in six right now, I think you'd agree is a tremendous win, right? Tell us a little bit about this dual meet. I mean, 49-19, that's a big deal.
Is that the first win that you've had? That can't be the first win that you've had against Rocky Point, is it?
I think it is. I think it's our first win. I mean, ever since I've been there, I don't know if Middle Place. I don't think in the 90s they beat them. So
no, I don't think the Middle Place has ever beaten Rocky Point.
No, so it might be
remarkable.
Walk us through that, Coach.
So this was our first match. We got two of our guys back, to our key guys, Nicky Blue, Mike Giuliano, who are just great kids. And I think that the team was pretty hyped to finally have our full lineup in. And they wrestled well. They got on a roll right off the bat. Noah Bila actually started us off with a nice pin. And then Nikki Nealand I didn't think it was upset, but an upset win. Hit a 285-pound elevator on a guy and beat the kid Cantone, who's a tough kid. And then just down the lineup, just the kids were wrestling scrappy. They were wrestling hard. We preached scoring on the edge, scoring at the end of the period. Spencer Bruno is a tough kid. Nicky Bloom's returning Olik. He actually got caught in an elevator too. So that was kind of the payback. Mikey Giuliano, I think, is one of the best kids in the state. He's my pick to win that state tournament in April. We have Greeby from the illustrious Greeby family, tough kid.
How many Greebies are there? I mean, they're never going to.
He's the last. Unfortunately, he's the last one.
I mean, I think those Greebies, they give a lot of guys nightmares. They just don't stop.
And a lot just tough kids down the lineup. Milano, Cacavalli is a freshman who's he only lost one match this year. He's going to be He's going to be making some noise. And Justin Klein, he beat Matt Hole, who's a really tough kid, and they followed that up by pinning Darren Catcham yesterday, who's a really tough kid. And then we have just young guys that have been unbelievable. Ceroli, Cunningham, Bartolato. I think they've all, maybe they have 2 losses combined between the 3 of them. And we got John Huckey back in the fray, and he only has 1 loss on the season too. So just a solid, good kids, hardworking kids, and they're a lot of fun.
So, Coach, in following the lineup, I think I think you mentioned it, this is kind of the first time you had the full lineup, right?
Yes, first time.
So, Coach, walk us through. I mean, Miller Place is here to stay, right? You guys are on a fluke over 4 years. How many seniors do you have on that? I know Mike has some questions too. How many seniors do you have on that team?
We have one senior, Noah Bila, is our only senior. So
I mean, that's amazing, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm just looking at some of these names and some of these scores, and it's remarkable. That this is the first time that I can remember in my lifetime that Miller Place has ever beaten Rocky Point. Again, Matt, we're close friends. I know the work that you put into Miller Place. I'm familiar with how much time you put into those kids. Speak a little bit deeper about, because, not that I'm a social media guy, but I tend to, things pop up, so on and so forth. And you have some kids that really love wrestling and that come from some really good families. Nick Lamort, I went to high school with his father, I believe, who was just a remarkable guy. Bartolato, his father was the principal of the middle school in our town and a deacon. But I see these kids on social media and they love wrestling. And now you wrestled at a Division III school. I coached at a Division III school. I wrestled at Division I university, and I can tell you that the experience on both was absolutely amazing. Division III versus Division I. What is your role, thought, and guidance on some of these kids that look to love wrestling, that probably will go to college? Are you hoping that they're going to stay on the island? Do you have some ideas versus Division II versus III, them getting away? Is it more individual based on each student athlete?
Yeah, it's definitely individual based on each athlete. Some of them, they want to go Division I. Some of them because I was a Division III athlete, and it's tough. And I'll kind of give my opinion on some of the Division III schools. We have a lot of kids that are I think we have 3 kids at Roger Williams right now. We send quite a few kids to York. We got 2 at Cortland, right? So we have kind of a Division III pipeline going on. I think we certainly have some Division I quality kids coming up, but it's more on an individual basis. I tell them it's not don't look at, you want to look at the wrestling program, but you want to look at the school and what are you going to do when you get out of school, right? Wrestling certainly helps with everything, as we know, but we're looking at case by case basis, trying to find that best fit for them.
So before go ahead.
Yeah,
Mike.
just want to reiterate that, these aren't just answers. These are the right answers, and they're being done by the right way. It's student athlete. Matt, you're a earth science and a chemistry teacher. Aside from being an Abercrombie model when we're younger, you have,
I forgot about
a great brain in your head, and a great sense that wrestling is a vehicle to get where you need to be, but not the only thing.
So. Before we bring in, we have an athlete, a guest here. I'm looking at a roster breakdown. You have 14 freshmen, 7 sophomores, 14 juniors, and 1 senior. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? So with that being said, let's bring in our athlete here, and let's have Coach introduce him.
So this is Noah Bila. We can hear you, Noah. He's
awesome.
returning all county. There's nothing but pin for us this year. I think one of the best kids in the state at 215, and also even a better kid off the mat, great leader for us. And also, I said to say a senior night today, and I think he might be the only, we've had some pretty big, strong, powerful kids. He might be the only high school kid I've ever been scared of that would actually hurt me. So he's just
you had a couple of tough,
you
had a bunch of tough kids, so that's definitely saying something.
Yep.
So Noah, welcome to 2-on-1. Obviously, we've been following you. You've obviously
Thank you for having me, sir. Appreciate it.
Good career. Tell us about, obviously it's a short season. We can get into different beliefs, right? Tell us about your goals for this year. What's your goal for this year?
I want to be a state champ, sir.
So I assume you're going to be taking part, right, in the journeyman state tournament?
Yes, sir.
So Noah, let's have a little bit of fun, and let's talk about, the fortunate blessing that you've had to grow up in Miller Place and that beautiful pocket of land right next to the Long Island Sound. And aside from wrestling, what is it that when you close your eyes, if you do, and you see something that you think that you want to do as you get older? Do you have some colleges in mind? Are you going to be continuing to try to wrestle and do that? What's in the 3-5 year plan for Noah?
Honestly, I want to pursue a degree in finance, actually, at like Hofstra or Penn State, something like that. And I'm trying to get on their teams, to be honest with you. That's going to be the ultimate goal of mine. I'm working toward it every day, trying my hardest.
Well, no, you're up to a 5-0 start this year. I think you have one more dual meet, right, Coach? Right. What?
Yeah, Saturday, a couple matches.
Saturday, well, obviously, yeah, in the championship round. So tell us what's the difference, Noah, from when you started out, as a freshman to where you're at now. What's the difference in the program? What's the biggest difference you think in the program?
Coming up in that program, I had a lot of great leaders that set examples for me, and they set the bar pretty high, and I just try to be like them, and just at least be as good as them, and work towards my goals pretty much. And being in that room from such a young age, I didn't really know what was going on, but as I got older, I really started to see the deeper meaning of wrestling and working with my brothers towards goals, putting ourselves through pain on purpose to reach, what we want to reach, basically.
Man, I'm blown back a little bit.
I'm kind of blown away. I'm kind of checking my own self here. You're an amazing guy. But Noah, we are out of time. We appreciate you coming. Matt, we appreciate you. We're a big fan of Miller Place.
Thank you for having me.
Big things. You guys are not going anywhere, and we're excited. Best of luck, along the way in this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Coach.
Thank you, Mike and Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. We'll be tracking and rooting and cheering, boys. So
Matt, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Take care, Noah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
This is Matt Kozupski from Miller Place. This is the Mike and Mike Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe.